Welcome back, familiar to Northside LDN. And today we've got Arsenal talking to the Girona winger, Tsygankov. He plays for Girona, a Girona team that almost won the Liga. They came very close. Ultimately, Real Madrid won it. He plays for Girona, that is a parent club of, that is part of the City group. They're part of the City group. And they did very well. They almost won La Liga, and they did extremely well. A lot of teams are looking at their players, and it's been reported that Victor Tsygankov is being linked to Arsenal. Now, I actually asked my guy Lee about this player, and he told me he's okay. He's hit and miss, but not bad. Can dribble, cross, and scores a few goals. If I'd rate his season, I would say 6.5 out of 10. So that is what Lee has to say. And I know I can rely on what Lee says about a player because he watches La Liga a lot. He does a lot of La Liga watch-alongs. So he's a decent player, 6.5 out of 10, just over average season. And he's been linked to Arsenal as a player that could give competition to Saka. Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you're smashing the like button and doing all that good stuff. Make sure you're doing all of that. If any of you watch La Liga, let me know what you think about this striker. Winger that could play. He cannot actually play as an attacking mid. His main position is a right winger, and he can also play on the left. So he fits that whole versatility stuff. In La Liga, he's had 8 goals, 7 assists in 30 appearances. In the Copa del Rey, he's had 4 appearances, 0 goals, 0 assists. So, listen, he's had a decent season, 26 years old, Ukrainian. But for me, I don't see this guy as the winger that's going to give competition to Saka. We've been linked to Eze, who I think is a much better player, more established player. Obviously, I haven't watched a lot from this Tsygankov, but I just think he's a better player. I think there's better options out there. And just like when Sesko is being linked to Arsenal, I just think there's better options out there. There's better players out there that we could get. Obviously, from what Lee's told me, he's not trash, but he's not going to move the needle. And he's going to comfortably be a bench player up against Saka. And for that's not what I want. I want the competition that Trossard brought to Martinelli. That is what I want on the right-hand side. And I think that's what's going to get the best out of Saka. And being linked to this guy, I just think that he's just not good enough. He's not going to be good enough for us to win a major honour. I don't think he's good enough to make the starting 11. And I don't think he's good enough to push Saka. I think there's other players, Eze, Elise. There's Conceição that had a great game for Portugal. He played very good for Portugal. I've been saying that Conceição is a baller. I've been saying that he's a player that we should be looking at. I think he's a lot better. Pedro Neto is another Portuguese player that's very, very good that we can also get in. I just think there's better options. Not all of them have to break the bank. Conceição, I don't think, will break the bank. Pedro Neto is not going to break the bank. This guy, Tsygankov, he's at transfer mark, he's valued at about 30 million euros. So listen, he ain't going to break the bank, but at the same time, I just think there's better options. I don't think we should be looking at price tags. We should be looking at quality. We're fans and we want quality. We want players that are going to get us to the next level, that are going to win us major honors. And I just don't think it's this guy. But let's go down to the article. Arsenal have approached representatives of Girona winger Victor Tsygankov and asked for what it will take to land him ahead of the summer transfer window, according to Spanish outlet. The Ukrainian international attacking midfielder was one of the best players for La Liga in 23-24, weighing in with 8 goals and 7 assists as they finished the campaign third behind Real Madrid and Barcelona. Tsygankov is happy at Girona, but there are clubs that are willing to bid very hard for him. this summer, including the Gunners and AC Milan. Arsenal manager Arteta loves and admires the style of play of the 26-year-old and is convinced he will fit perfectly into his team. North Londoners want to bolster their attacking ranks ahead of 24-25, and Tsygankov fits the bill given his style of play and experience. The magician plays predominantly on the right and can help provide Saka with quality and much needed cover. The Ukrainian can also play directly behind the striker and on the left and in central midfield, and it appears such versatility is one of the qualities that have attracted Arteta to him. While his contract with Girona does not expire till 2027, Tsygankov has a £30 million release clause, and Arsenal can afford that despite being cautious of their spending due to profitability and sustainability rules. The former Dynamo Kiev star will hope to impress with his country at the European Championship in Germany later this month, and more suitors are likely to emerge for his services given his cheap release clause. Girona were early title challengers in the last season before tailing off, and it is difficult to see them beating Madrid and Barca to the title anytime soon. As a result, a move to Arsenal, who have become strong title contenders over the last two campaigns, could appeal the winger. Such a signing would help bolster their firepower and squad depth in attack. Listen, I hear it. I see why the player would want to come to Arsenal. Obviously, Girona, I think they only spent about £15 million, and they were challenging Real Madrid for the league title. They were top of the league, but eventually they fell off. He can play as a 10, and we do need cover for somebody like Odegaard, who if Odegaard's injured, we've got what? ESR, Fabio Vieira. ESR's been linked to Fulham, so it looks like he's got limited time at Arsenal. And Fabio Vieira has not been that great. He's really not been that great. And he looks like a player that is on the list of players potentially to be moved on. So both of those players are levels behind somebody like Odegaard. He needs proper competition. This guy, Tsygankov, he mainly plays on the right, but he can play as an attacking midfielder. It could be a rotation for Odegaard. I still think Eze is a better option. I still think he's a better player to rotate or take Odegaard's starting position. And that is why I don't see this guy, starting for Arsenal ahead of Odegaard in the 10, nor do I see him starting ahead of Saka on the right-hand side. So that is the problem. That is the problem. How good is this guy? I don't think he is an amazing player. I think he's a decent player, which eventually would just end up on the bench. I think we need to go get players that are going to go into the starting 11. And that is why I don't prefer... I don't want Arsenal to go for this player. I just don't think he moves the needle. He probably would fit into the way that we play. But we need better. We need better. I gave the club a lot of props when we got Trossard. He was a player that I wanted. And he's now arguably our best player. He's a player that turns up in the crunch moments. He's a player that contributes a lot, even with limited minutes. He's a player that has made himself get into the starting 11. I don't see this going on. I don't see that happening with Tsygankov. I really don't. Decent player, not an amazing player. There's better options out there. And I don't really care how much money we spend on getting those players. Just get those players over the line. Like I said, Conceição is absolutely balling out for Portugal. His stocks are only going to go up. That is a smart move. I think we should go and get Conceição. I was impressed by him even when Arsenal played Porto in the Champions League. I just think he's a better player and all-round a better player. So let me know if you would take Tsygankov at Arsenal. If not, who would you take? Because we don't need versatility. I'd rather a master of a position. I don't need somebody that can play all over the front three. I need somebody that is going to establish himself into the team and be a difference maker. And I just don't see this guy being that player. AC Milan are also in for him. Obviously, he's got a low release clause, 30 million euros, probably 25 million pounds. You know, I don't really care when it comes to the money. I'll be completely honest. I do not care when it comes to the money. All I care about is getting a player that's going to get us to where we need to get to, and that's winning major honours. I'm not too fussed about price tags. That's for the club to work out. And other than that, I'm not really bothered. I'm really not that bothered. But listen, the player is talented. He's definitely not a bum. But yeah, let me know who you guys would want at Arsenal. Do you watch La Liga? Do you rate this guy? Do you think he can have a higher ceiling at Arsenal? And yeah, but for me, I think we've gone past these players that can become good. Listen, I prefer world class. I'm not going to lie. I want world class players. That's what the fan base said once we get Champions League football. If you can't get world class, get the best of the rest. And I don't think it's this guy. I really don't think it's this guy. But let me know, family. Smash the likes up, hit the bell notification, do all that good stuff. And let me know in the comments down below what targets you guys want, what targets we should get through. As I said, I just think there's players like Kudus. I think Kudus is ahead of him. I think Constance's ahead of him. I think Pedro Neto's ahead of him. I think Eze's ahead of him. I think players like Elise is ahead of him. But let me know what you guys think. Smash the likes up, hit the bell notification, and I'm out, familia. Love.